webinar. Ian will be in charge of the screen, and I'll just start the introductions off. So thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about the latest updates from Microsoft in Business Central Wave 2 2025. So your speakers today are myself as Customer Success Director. My name is Danusha Jolliffe, and I look after the support team here at T-Vision. I will be doing the admin side of this webinar, and if you have any questions at all, please do add them to the question box, and I will stop Ian at an appropriate point and ask him those questions. If it's something a bit more in depth, then we can follow up after the call, either myself or one of the engagement managers, and we can answer whatever you need. Ian is my senior support consultant here in the support team, and he will be doing the intricate demo technical side of things today. So over to the next slide, please. So this is the agenda of what we're going to be covering. So I'll talk a little bit about the general Business Central improvements that are coming. Ian will then follow up on the deprecation that we found that are coming in the next few Wave versions. And then he'll talk a little bit about feature management, reporting, finance, usability, and then I'll also pinpoint and direct you to other ways and other places you can get more information from Microsoft. So when we had a look at what was coming in this wave, it's all available on the Microsoft release plan. These are the various areas that Microsoft has improvements coming. And when I started looking at the exact detail, there was a large amount of stuff that's coming. So if you look now, you can see that actually overall, next slide, please. We've actually got nearly, well, just over 100 changes coming as at the beginning of this week, all in those different areas within Business Central. And we're going to focus on just a few areas that we think actually are going to provide the most impact to you, our clients, and Ian's going to be talking about those shortly. So just as an example, these are the 7 changes coming in financial management in Business Central. And as I said, we can share those links with you so you can find out a bit more. So Ian, over to you, please.
Okay. Deprecations, very fancy word, stuff that's going to be removed from the system. There are quite a few, but there are 3 that we think are really important. So sales pricing. There's an old way of doing sales prices and there's a new way of doing sales prices. From Wave 1 next year, I think it's Wave 1 next year, yeah. It's going to be compulsory for everybody to move on to the new way of doing sales prices. If you're new to Business Central, you've only gone live in the past year or so, you're definitely on that new experience already. The consultants would have put you there. If you know that you've moved, fantastic, you don't need to do anything. If your business doesn't use sales pricing, you're not selling items, buying and selling goods in a warehouse, etc., you probably don't need to worry about this. But if you're unsure, you really need to be looking at this and you need to be planning for this in the next 6 months, especially if you have any integrations built in with your sales prices or workflows, etc. Have a look at that and just make sure everything's okay for you.
Ian?
Yes?
Yeah, so just to reiterate that it is coming. So what we are planning on doing is sending out some communication to clients probably next month now to get you prepared. And then come January, we're going to recommend the testing and the process there. Sorry, I thought we just had a question. Excellent. Okay. Yeah, sorry, Ian, carry on.
Yep. The next one is reminder terms. So if you're a company that you issue reminders to your customers for late payments, overdue balances, the way that that works is changing. The changes are not huge, but if you are using continued document output to create the emails and attach those reminders to send them to your customers, you're going to need to update the way that that works. Again, it's not a huge job, but it's not something you want to leave until the last day and then say, oh, it's not working, help, because you're not going to get help within a few hours. It's going to take a day or 2 for somebody to tweak your system. So that's something else worth looking at. That's going to be changing in 6 months' time, so you need to be ready for that. And the third one, SOAP APIs. SOAP, Service Oriented Application Protocol, something like that it stands for. It's how websites talk to each other. SOAP is an old technology. Microsoft feel that it's not secure anymore. It's been replaced with something called OData, and Microsoft have been pushing now for quite some time for everybody to move from SOAP to OData. They've been warning that this change is coming, and in 12 months' time, so this time next year, they're going to start turning off SOAP, and they're going to be turning off SOAP in Business Central, so you'll need to be using OData. Again, if you have integrations with third-party applications, that's where you need to be looking and make sure that that's not using SOAP. If it is, get it upgraded. You've got 12 months to deal with things like that. And obviously, if we know that you've got something, we will reach out to you and suggest your way forwards. Oh, wow, I'm doing a demo. Okay, so let me bring that up. Right, so I've logged into my Wave environment. By now, somebody from the support team will have contacted you to let you know that a Wave environment has been created for you to do your testing. If you're at all unsure where your Wave environment is, please don't suffer in silence. Reach out. Somebody from the support team will help you get logged in. You can hit this button up at the top, and from within your production environment, you'll see all the different environments you have. You can find your Wave, find one of the companies, and open that. Another thing, I'm using the Windows client here. I'm not using a web browser. But if I go to any of the screens on here, and that was a bad choice, I'm going to go back and choose fixed assets. Later on, I'm going to show you something with fixed assets you might find worthwhile. If you've got another member of your company who you think would like to look at this and maybe needs to test it, this button up here, you can copy a link, you can email that to your colleague, and if they click on the link, it will bring them to this page within the Wave environment if you sent it from the Wave environment. So they can then test and try out this new functionality. Right, there are quite a few things that I need to get through, so I'll try and go as quick as I can without being too quick that I'm ununderstandable. The features that we talk about, not all of them are turned on by default. If you go to a page called Feature Management, and you just type in the first few letters, you can search for things. Here's a list of some of the upcoming features that can be turned on and off. For each one, it takes you to some documentation on what's happening. It tells you when it's going to be turned on automatically by Microsoft themselves. So there was the bit about new sales pricing experience. Between April and September next year, it's going to be turned on by Microsoft, and you'll be off the old and onto the new. SOAP web services are being turned off, so they're giving advance warning here. If you want to turn one of them on, you just change this from none to all users. I've turned on this advanced search. It was turned off by default. Some of these you can turn off and on at will. Some of them, there's something about VAT, this one here. If I turn this one on for all users, it gives me this scary warning. It's a one-way street. If you turn it on, you cannot turn it off. So please, please, please don't turn this on in your live environment if you haven't tested in Wave first, because we can't turn it off for you. It's just on and you're going to have to live with it. So be aware of that. Turn on any that you want to try out. Right. I should have mentioned there were 3 lines there that mentioned VAT or HMRC. A little bit scary because I think all of us do our MTD VAT returns. All that's saying is that VAT has been taken out of the core product and it's been put into an extension instead. You should not see any change at all. You'll still follow exactly the same processes. The screens will look the same. Your end users won't notice the change. But because we know there's a change in the background, we urge you a week earlier than normal. Download your VAT return period, make sure that you can create your blank VAT return. As long as you can do those steps, you know that everything's working as it should, and you'll be able to carry on from there. But if you hit any problems, please let us know. This is not something you can test in Wave. HMRC do not give any testing environment for us to test with or for you to test with. They've tested with Microsoft, they say it works. We trust them, but not 100%, 99.99%. So let's just double check.
Ian,
right, yes.
the question has been asked, is there a specific date that you think this needs to be done by, just to make sure we can support the clients?
Yeah, if we do need to do something, it's going to be something small, like just turning on the extension. That's why I say just do it a week earlier than you normally would. It gives you plenty of time that you don't have to panic. If you wait until the 7th of February, and say, oh, my return is due in 15 minutes, help, you're going to be late. We can't help you within 15 minutes. But if you give us a couple of days, we'll sort you out. So just try and do it a little earlier than normal. Artificial intelligence. And now it seems to me I can't read a magazine article or look at a newspaper or watch TV without somebody talking about AI. And Microsoft, big technology company, they're heavily investing in artificial intelligence. Theirs is Copilot, which you'll probably start seeing all over Microsoft applications. It's in Business Central, and they're really pushing it in Business Central as one of the main places to use it. So you'll start noticing these two extra buttons up here. This is your payables agent and your sales order capture agent. The way that these work, I've only looked at the sales order agent, and I can't demo it for you because I don't have a big enough database to do this with. Basically, you would give this access to one of your email inboxes, maybe your sales@yourcompany.co.uk. Any emails come in, it will scan those emails, it will open them to determine if it's a potential customer asking for a quote, a price, an order, etc. If they are, it will create that quotation or that order, prepare an email to send back to the customer, and then pass it over to a human being for approval to click the send button. So it's not just going to run amok and do its own thing. A human being is still going to do the sanity check. And you don't worry about somebody in your organization pressing one of these buttons. If you turn it on, Microsoft aren't just going to send you a bill for £10,000 or anything like that. The way that it's going to work is you'll buy credits up front, and each of those actions of opening emails and creating sales quotes, sales orders, will consume a credit, 2 credits, 3 credits, depending on the activity. So, you know, there's no nasty surprises that way. If this is something that interests you, we do have one demo database, or tech experts. They've had a look at this, they've managed to get it going, and they can demo this for you. If you really want, let us know. One of the engagement management people within a company will reach out to you and organize a demo.
Absolutely.
Something a little bit more down to earth and easier to understand is artificial intelligence, or Copilot, helping us with normal day-to-day tasks. So I am going to be creating a new vendor. So I click on new. I'm going to be buying some stuff from this vendor. It's an American company. I want to buy some scuba diving equipment or something, I believe is what they sell. I know the name of the company. It's AdventureWorks. Hopefully I'm spelling that correctly. I don't know much about them. I do know they're in the United States of America, and somebody told me that they are in Washington. That's all I have at the moment. And you will notice when I hover over these fields, you get these funny little diamond shapes. I've heard the people from Microsoft referring to these as sparkles, which I think is a lovely name for them, so I'll call them sparkles. I want to put in the city for AdventureWorks. So I'm going to click on the sparkles, and now Continua is working on this for me. It's going to be connecting to the internet, it's going to be looking for their web page, seeing what information it can find to come back and populate these missing fields. And because this is a live demo, I really hope it finds something. It takes a few seconds, and it has found one Microsoft Way. It's in Redmond, that's the postcode, it's found their email address, their website, so it's found more. If I'm happy with this, I can accept everything. I'm clicking on the Keep All button up here, or I can go through them one by one and tick them off. And if I'm a little bit unsure about one of them, how did it come up with Redmond? I can click on the little information and it will tell me it found it on the internet. And this is the web page where it found the information. I can click on that and go and verify this for myself. Again, it waits for a human being to say, yes, you're getting it right. I'm happy with this, I'll keep it everything. But it can do a little bit more than just search the internet. Now, what it did there, it saved me maybe a couple of minutes of copying and pasting. So it does actually help me a little, but also I have internal purchases and I can ask Copilot, what do you think I should be populating in the purchaser code? It thinks I should populate it with the code EH. Why? Again, I can read that. This is the most frequently used option for this field when creating new customers. So it figures out I usually choose EH for this, and that's why it's suggesting I use it. Again, I can keep that or I can change it manually myself. I'll keep it, I don't mind. So the sparkles are available on customer pages, when you're creating new vendors, customers, contacts, even on new items, it can suggest categories, etc. So all over the system, these sparkles just help you populate the fields. If you're a little unsure, it gives you a clue. That's one place where we can find AI. Another place, I'm looking at vendors. So it's in rows, it's in columns. It's a little bit like an Excel spreadsheet. We have, for all of these type of list pages, Microsoft have given us this handy analysis view button. This is not brand new. It's been there for a while, but every wave Microsoft improved this just a little bit. And some of the recent improvements have been really nice, particularly using AI. This is starting to work really well as now. So you'll notice in this analysis view, I see the same information I was seeing originally, just gives me a total at the bottom, which is quite handy. It saves me copying everything to Excel to add up manually. It's done for me. This is handy, but I would like this summarized in a different way. So I'm going to ask Copilot to group this by purchaser and show subtotals. And I'm going to say generate. Copilot will figure out what it needs to do to present me the information in this way. And it's EH and blank are the two purchases that I have with the subtotals and the grand total at the bottom. If I wanted to, I could have dragged and dropped things and ticked and unticked things on this side. But I find it much easier to ask the AI to do it. I'm not quite happy with the sort order. If I had a lot, maybe I'd want them sorting in ascending order instead of descending. Again, please sort this by balance LCY ascending, and hopefully it understands what I'm asking. And it's changed the sort order for me. I didn't have to know how to do that. The system's done it for me. This is all fantastic, but maybe I want to send this to somebody in senior management and they're going to ask me, what on earth is EH? They don't know what codes relate to which people. The name that goes with EH is not saved on the vendor card. It's saved somewhere else within the system. So in the past, I would have had to download this to Excel, type it in manually, or do a VLOOKUP to another table, or I'd have worked hard to get that information. The AI can start doing that for me now, making my life a lot easier. Instead of the purchaser code, show the purchaser name. And let's hope it can do that for me. Oh, try again. Sure. Try and keep it simple. No, it's failing. I'm sorry. I practiced yesterday and it worked. It worked. It does work if you can type in the correct prompt. I'm terribly sorry. You can also do this by hand if you want to. So within here, you can add columns from the vendor code, which is where we are now, or you can bring from the currency code, the responsibility center, the salesperson purchaser, which is what I was hoping it was going to do for me. And you can bring those fields from separate tables and start bringing them together. So you can build your finished reports, build them here, and then send them off to your colleagues. Yes.
Sorry, just to backtrack slightly, we had a question saying, do you know whether the sparkles are available on the ledger application screens? Is that something you can answer quickly, or would we need to do some digging?
Off the top of my head, I can't say yes or no. We'd have to have a look, or you can have a look as well. You'll quickly see if they're there or not. You just hover over and they'll either be there or not.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, so I was just attempting to show you some reports there. What Microsoft have also done, they've added some new reports to the system, and continuously they're tweaking existing reports as well. So one of the new reports that they've added, I will show to you, and that is deferral. And if I look at reports and analysis for deferrals, deferral summary GL, sales and purchasing, these are 3 new reports where you can get your status of existing deferrals in the system. Now I have posted some deferred sales, so I'm going to ask for this report. I'll put in my date. I don't want to filter by anything, and I get my usual buttons. I'm just going to preview the report. And I can see I have 3 things deferred on my system from 2 different companies on 3 different sales documents. This is the amount that's been recognized as sales already on the 31st of December, the amount that's still to be recognized next year, and this is the grand total of everything that was deferred. Now that's useful, but what Microsoft have also done, even for some of the existing reports, they've added the Word and Excel options. They've been doing this slowly over the past couple of waves, and they're doing it for more and more reports. So on this one, I did the Word report. If you've got something in the Word report format, you can modify that yourself. You can download it within MS Word, you can tweak it, you can upload your changes back to the system if you would prefer to change the layout of the report. And the same thing with the Excel option. The ODLC, that's the old-fashioned version where any changes will be made by a computer programmer. If you have a report with changes, maybe we've added an extra column for you or changed the way the rows are presented, the new reports that Microsoft gives you will not have those changes. They will be the default Microsoft layouts. So if you like Word and Excel, you'd have to get us to tweak these and add the new fields for you as well. But once you've done that, you can change the layout how you want. On this report, I'm going to do the Excel format just to see the difference. Exactly the same options. I don't get a preview option now, I get download instead, which downloads an Excel document for me. I can click that to open, and let's hope that Microsoft are nice to me and go pretty fast loading Excel. But basically what this is going to give me is the report in an Excel format where obviously I can do a lot more tweaking, a lot more analysis. It doesn't show me anything. At first I thought it's broken, but no, you need to enable editing, you need to enable functionality, enable content. And as soon as you've enabled anything, it's now going to go and look at the system, populate the report. It's going to give me 3 tabs with detailed information. And of course, it's a little bit slow because I'm sharing video, but I can see exactly what I saw before, the same 3 documents, the same what's been recognized, what's still to recognize, the total. It gives me some information about the report. I ran this report on this company, this date at this time. It even takes me to the documentation for the report if I click on this link. And I get this bonus screen as well, where I can start doing analysis. So this is the base information that made up that first report we were looking at. And I can filter this. I can just look at one of the customers, or I can select a list of customers that I want to see. Or if I have multiple types of things that I sell, items, resources, GL accounts, I can filter by that. Or what products do people tend to defer? And I can look at the Athens desk and I can see, oh, this is what Athens desk sales have been deferred. This is what Sydney swivel chair sales have been deferred. And I can turn that off. I can start doing more detailed analysis. And finally, that initial report that I had on this first screen, this is just a pivot table. And if I'm bold, and if I can manage to get things right, I can tweak this pivot report myself. I can drag and drop, I can change the order, change the formatting, make it look the way that I want. I can save this, send it back to Business Central and make it the default for next time I run the report, that it does it the way I want, which I think is fantastic functionality. If that's something that interests you, there's plenty of documentation online, or give us a shout and we can always help you. That's what we love to do. Next thing, I showed you the deferral report. There are also new reports for VAT. There's a VAT audit report, which I haven't looked at yet, but that sounds fascinating. There are reports for costing. We get lots of questions about costing. So having extra reports that give more information, definitely going to be useful. And then my 2 favorites, intercompany posting report. So if you do intercompany transactions between subsidiaries, etc., you can now get reports of what intercompany transactions were posted. And consolidation. If you have a parent company that has subsidiaries and you roll them all up into one consolidated company, there are now extra consolidation reports available. So lots of nice new information. There's also some fantastic functionality that's been added to fixed assets, which I alluded to right at the beginning. So I want to imagine I've got this company. It's that time of year. I'm going to replace laptops, and I'm going to buy 10 laptops to replace. Or maybe I'm rolling out some new handheld scanners. I'm going to buy 10 handheld scanners or mobile phones for employees. In the past, I would have had to add 10 new fixed assets. I would then have to, in each individual fixed asset, acquire it either using a journal, using the wizard, or using a purchase document. That's been improved somewhat. Do I still have time for a demo, Danisha?
We are getting a little bit close to the end, but I think fixed assets could be useful if you could show that to people. And I do apologise if anyone's got another call they need to go on to. We've obviously got a lot of exciting stuff for Ian to talk about. And just to say, when he said the VAT report was fascinating, Ian does tend to be the person in the team that gets all the VAT tickets. He loves it the most, but everyone in the team can actually work on it. But yeah, he wasn't being sarcastic. He does actually love it.
I'm sorry. Yeah. And I can set up the basics for one of these fixed assets, say it's over 2 years. I'm not sure. I'll leave it at that. So I've created the fixed asset. That's fine. What I can do is I can then go and acquire the fixed asset. So I'm going to do that using a purchase document. And I will go and buy 4 or 5 phones. Let me create a new one. And I'm going to buy from I'll buy from not publishers. They seem to be popular. I'm going to need a document number up here somewhere. There it is. And instead of buying an item, I'm going to buy a fixed asset. Which fixed asset am I buying? I'm buying the phone. And I can say how many of these phones I'm going to buy. And I'm going to buy 6 of them. I'll have to put a price in. They're not very good phones. I'm happy with that. I will post it and I will say okay. Oh, okay. If I had set everything up nicely, and I was rushing, I'm sorry, it would have created 6 new fixed assets for me. It would have put in the numbers.
So individual lines, yeah.
From 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, it would have created those for me instead of me having to do them one by one. And it would have acquired them, put in their initial value, and they're ready to be depreciated and assigned to employees. So a real time saver on that one. There's also the one feature, the search has been improved. So I turned on advanced searching. You'll notice there's advanced here. So if I searched for something like products, it comes up with Shopify and 365 sales. It doesn't really show me what I'm looking for. If I went to advanced search and I searched, and now Copilot's being a little bit clever, it's, oh, you're probably looking for items. I didn't know the correct terminology, and so that's what it brings me back. It's a little bit more finessed in its searching. That works on the Tell Me button. It also works on your Role Explorer as well. So you can go in there and I can see within my role, I could have searched for, again, products. Within my role, I can only see products within Shopify, but I can try it in advanced and it suggests to me items. So it does work in more than one place. And the fact that I've gone to the Role Explorer here, I should mention there are a couple of new roles that are available on the system. And within my settings, instead of being a business manager, I now can become an accounts payable coordinator, an accounts receivable administrator. These are new roles that have been added, which might be useful to you. You might have somebody on your team who would prefer to have a screen that's laid out for them. There are a few more that have been added that maybe aren't as interesting. I thought those 2 were quite exciting.
Ian?
Yes, ma'am.
We've had a couple of questions. So can you sort the columns on more than one field in the updated version 27 of BC?
I'd have to test.
Okay.
I don't think so, but I would have to check before I can answer that.
No problem. And the other question, can you add a fixed asset code after the purchase order has been posted?
No, you would have to say I'm buying a fixed asset and point it at a fixed asset number. If you're not wanting to do it that way, you'd have to end up using journals.
Okay.
But I like using the purchase document. It's more a reflection of what's happening in the real world.
Okay. Thank you.
There are other things that I just don't have time to go through today. Microsoft have done a lot of work on sustainability, measuring waste packaging, CO2, that kind of thing. Very important if you've got companies in Europe. I believe it's becoming more and more compulsory to report that kind of stuff there. It's going to become compulsory in the UK at some point, not quite yet, but it's worth having a look at if your industry you think is going to be affected by this. Power BI, if you're using Power BI to run reports and do analysis, there are some new reports that are available. Well worth reaching out to one of our consultants if that's something that you're interested in looking at. And Shopify, Microsoft have made a lot of nice improvements in Shopify, especially things around keeping your prices between your Business Central and your website aligned, and also a troubleshooting tool So if there is an error between the two, a little troubleshooting tool that helps you determine where the error is coming from. So hopefully it gets solved a lot quicker and keeps your business running smooth. And one thing that you might notice if you're having a look is functionality around excise duty. This is a framework. It's not a finished product yet. Microsoft are just starting to build this. If you are one of our Bevica clients where excise duty is really important to you, please don't turn this on. As I say, it's not a finished product. Wait until Claudio and the Bevica team have had a chance to look through this. And if it's functionality that fits in well with the way that we do excise, obviously they will integrate it within Bevica or carry on using the Bevica built-in excise tools. So well worth looking at if you have to pay excise duty, but if you're a Bevica client, just hang on for the Bevica team to confirm how that's going to be used. I'm going to stop there before I run out of breath.
Can you go back to the slides for me, Ian, and then we can finish up?
Will do so.
Great, thank you. So that's just a highlight there of everything that Ian has talked about just now. If there's anything that in particular that you'd like to learn more about, please do get in touch. And we have had some questions coming through as Ian's been talking that I think things that we can look up for you in the background. And so we'll be getting back to everybody in due course. So if you would like to learn more, there are some links here and we can definitely share these with you. So the first one is the feature management piece that Ian talked about at first. Second of all, we've got the release plan, and that details those 100 or so changes that Microsoft are bringing into version 27 rather, Wave 2 currently. And then the last link, which I'm not sure everybody knows about, but I thought was definitely worth sharing. On there, Microsoft have got approximately 80 videos for the different areas or some of their changes, and the one that's highlighted there at the top, it's a 5-minute video talking about autofilling contact details with Copilot, which Ian went through when he was talking about vendors. That's actually had 2,200 views so far, so that's the top viewed video. But I think there's about 80 in there or so, something like that. So if there's something in there that sparks your interest or you'd like to learn a bit more, do tell us. Ian.
Yeah, I can tell you, I've looked through these videos. There's just short of 8 hours of videos that Microsoft have put out there for you guys. I tried to cram it into 30 minutes. I'm sorry if I went very fast, but it's well worth having a look at those videos. It goes into more detail of everything that I spoke about.
Thank you. Yeah, so again, there's a lot of content out there, and I think those 3 links specifically would help. So just leaves me to say thank you so much for attending. The QR code there, we would really appreciate it if you could take the time just to do a bit of a summary and a review of today's session, and that will take you to a Microsoft link, a short survey to complete, a few minutes. We'd really appreciate it if you could. So thank you so much for joining today. I know there's still a couple of questions outstanding that I can respond to shortly. Thanks for myself and Ian. If you've got any questions, do get in touch to learn more. And hopefully that's given you a bit of a flavour of what's coming in Business Central Wave 2. As Ian said, the support team will be in touch. We are creating the Wave environments. We're getting everything ready for you. And the message retesting will be coming out very, very soon. So we'll leave that QR code just on the screen, just for the end of the webinar. Ian and myself will switch off, turn off our cameras and say thank you so much. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, cheers guys. Thank you. Bye.